Hi guys. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick video about how we would approach the seating risers in the house. So we already know our stage floor is at 0, and then we extruded down minus 2'6" in order to create that stage section. Okay, this next floor piece here is going to be at minus 2.6, and it'll just be a flat surface. Okay, it doesn't need any extrusion because it's below grade. Here's how I'm going to approach all of these seating, all of this stuff that's in the house. Okay, not these walls. These walls are different, but the physical risers for the house is what I'm talking about. So let me deselect these walls that got swept up in the process, and make sure I have all of my polygons that are part of the house. So I'm going to create a separate layer in this theater floor plan world. We're going to call it, I don't know, new design layer. Let's call it theater floor house. Okay, so it's just creating a different layer for all of this stuff that's in the house. That stuff accidentally flew to the top of the stacking order, and it actually wants to stack kind of right in with the regular theater floor plan. Okay, so I just popped it in underneath the theater floor plan, and I'm going to make this now my active layer. So the other thing I want to do with this theater floor plan house layer is I want to adjust its bottom Z. I want to adjust its baseline, like what floor of the house it's on. The reason I want to do that is because if you come over here, your next task is going to be to measure up from this floor line right here. Launchpad, no, just give me a regular old line. There we go. So we're going to measure from, in our section view, from this floor, okay, up to the various stair heights, okay? I'm not going to mess with you over this cavity underneath in this architectural drawing. So as far as I'm concerned, nothing needs to exist below this line, right? That means the simplest way to create these extrusions would be to measure the distance from this line to each of these levels, okay? And these are the main riser levels. That doesn't show the steps. If you look on the sides, there are these steps for the audience. Those would be then split in half between those levels. Or you could create them as a like half height step unit with a bottom Z of the level that they are sitting upon. By creating a floor that is below the stage floor for the house, I can just measure everything from that first level as opposed to having to add, subtract, figure out everything relative to a 0 level that doesn't start at the bottom. So that's why I'm going to create this new floor on my design layer through a theater floor plan house, okay, and it's at the lowest level. So I'm going to right click and edit this layer, and right here it says elevation, and that's where I'm going to say minus 2'6" please. Okay, this will now drop those layers all down 2'6". Okay, so now as you rotate yourself around, you see that that's all now sitting below the stage floor. Yay! The other thing I can do at this point, just to help give me some clarity, because I'm starting to get confusion between the original drawing and my Vectorworks tracing, even though it is the, I'm in the hand tool. How'd that happen? X key. So in order to get some clarity on that, I might just turn off my existing AutoCAD plan view. So now I'm just looking at the shapes that I've drawn. My first piece of floor does not need any elevation height, right? Because it is the bottom of the floor. So I have two options. I can either extrude it down like an inch or something in order to give it a surface, or I can just come to model. Is it in model? No, it's not. I'm going to modify, and then I can convert it to a 3D poly. So if I just convert it to a 3D poly, it goes straight to being a three-dimensional polygon instead of being a 2D polygon. So that's one way around it. This level I know is plus 2'6". I'm just doing this off the top of my head because I don't feel like actually doing all of the work. That's what your life is about. So I can extrude that now. That was Command E I just did, and I'm waiting for the computer to respond because everything is harder when you're screen recording. 2'6". Okay. So now you can see that the house lines up there with the stage floor. Okay. So your next task will be to go through, set all of those riser heights, and then figure out those stairs at the half steps in between. And I'm gonna go away and do those steps, and then I'll talk a little bit about how you create a clean section view out of this. But I don't want to do this with the screen recorder on because it's making my life super slow and crazy. So I will be back in a minute. So while I was away, I drafted all of these levels and I extruded them to their various heights and various depths. So like I extruded, for example, I extruded this to 10 inches because that's how far it is off of that line at the bottom. Then I extruded this to half of the distance between those two, the stairs. So I extruded that 5 inches and I set its bottom Z at 10 inches so that it would sit on top of that step. So the result being I have this whole stack, right, where everything lines up, marching up the steps and then turns to the side and continues marching up the steps, okay? So this is my new section view. I'm going to show you what this looks like as a section view, and then I'll show you sort of how we would clean that up so that it looks correct in our drafting. So I'm going to Command 5 back to top plan view. Let's presume we're creating a ground plan first, okay? So instead of gray snap others, I'm going to switch into show snap others mode just so that we can see everything. There's obviously doors missing in mine, but yours will be perfect. It will have all of the doors. Everything will be great. I'm going to now create a viewport of this on my ground plan layer. Oh, I don't have a ground plan layer. I just have this template. So I have this mess, which was from when I created your assignment. But let's use ArchD, you know? Let's just do it. Let's go for it. Make it all happen. We're going to use an ArchD plate. So let's duplicate this a few times. The first thing I'm going to do is change one of them to say ground plan. Okay. Let's switch this back real quick. So I made a ground plan layer. I'm going to pop it up to the top of my stacking order. I'm going to create another layer. Let's duplicate this again and stick it up right next to that ground plan layer. Call this the section. Section view, please. Section. Okay. So I have my ground plan. I got my section. Ground plan is always layer 1. Section is layer 2. After that, you can do elevations or live your life, but ground plan is layer 1, section is layer 2. Okay, so there she is. You can see it says right there on the title block, ground plan, section, right? So layer 1 is my ground plan. This is going to be great, guys. So I'm going to go back over here, create that viewport on that ground plan layer. Check it out. Active layer, please. There it is. Okay. Got my ground plan. Let's just turn off this X section. I don't need that in this ground plan view. And I really, really don't need all this noise. This is my measuring tape. Okay, better. Now, view, create viewport. Ground plan. Once again, ground plan, ground plan, ground plan. Let's create this viewport. Nice. Okay. Maybe I can fit the section on the same page. I mean, it's worth a shot, right? I bet I could fit it over here. So once I have a ground plan viewport. Okay, look at that. It looks like the ground plan. Now I can create a section viewport based on this ground plan viewport. So view, create section viewport. This is real life. So now I just need to draw a section line. Okay, so my second click is basically saying, do I want it to point, look in this direction or that direction? Click again. All right, create section viewport. We're going to just put on this ground plan layer for now, because mostly we're trying to figure out our lives. Drawing title, section. Okay. There she is. Okay. So, I mean, it's okay. It's not great, but it's okay, right? You can see that these are the steps and these are the other steps, and it looks a little weird because of how everything is curved, but it's not bad, right? What it does not look like is a true section view, right? It does not match the section view that you received in your AutoCAD drawing. And there's a few reasons why. One is it's kind of weird that the walls are floating and not connecting all the way to the ground. That's not normal. And the other is we're not seeing the cutting plane of your section, okay? Like, that just is kind of weird. So the way I can get the diagonal lines and I can get the continuous shapes is going to be by changing my section style. And if I come over here, I can look for that section style right here in my classes. Now I can edit that section style, and it will give me a different set of options for my section, okay? So anything which is section, I'm going to give it a hatch. I'm going to use this diagonal hatch, okay? I'm going to say I want to use this at creation. I'm going to say tensile is solid. That's a good thickness for a section line, right? Textures, we don't need to worry about. Visibilities in this viewport only, okay? Let's see if that helps me out. It does, right? So now that I've created that section style, everything that is part of the slice, the cutting plane, right? Everything that's been sliced through now has those lines as part of it, okay? So that shows me which things are cutaway and which things I'm looking at the face of, okay? So that's going to be step one, is to update your section style so that when you slice a section, it starts looking like a solid wall. The other thing I'd want to do is go back in and kind of clean up some of the connections between these different pieces and make my walls go down below the floor. So let's go back into my theater floor plan layer where my walls are chilling. And let's see if we can't get those to go all the way to the ground. So you have a height, you have a bottom bound and a bottom offset. I wonder if by changing bottom offset to minus 2'6" now I'm changing the bottom without disrupting the top, okay? So by changing that bottom offset, now I've just extended it down all the way to the lowest piece of the floor instead of floating above the floor. I'm going to do that with all of my walls now, so I can select everything else and just make that adjustment globally. Anyways, those are the things I would do for you to start off. The nice thing is that once you've drawn these, then you can always come back in, draw scenery, and it will create that section view for you. Let's say that's good for now, and we'll come back and look at it again later.